people of the Florida Alliance and the Western forces of Texas and California will be welcomed back to these United States as soon as their illegal secessionist government is deposed.
Whoa, welcome to DBL. I am Tori in for Sam. That was a clip from the movie Civil War. Now, the movie is a violent vision of a near future America at war with itself. And before the movie came out, many were wondering why we needed a movie like this. But after it premiered last night at the South by Southwest Film and TV Festival, many people are now praising it. One person wrote, "I am speechless. A horrific tale, a journalism tale, an American tale, well told." And someone called the movie a visceral, cautionary tale that's scary as hell. Watching it, one can't help but feel how close we are to this actually happening, making it a must-see to stop it before it actually does. Thoughts on this? Is anyone anti this? Anyone worried in an election year to have this kind of polarizing movie in a dystopian
worried
near
about
future?
What?
That it's a roadmap for militia or for anyone that wants to create a civil war that they could follow? Or do you think this is art teaching us about what might happen?
I would say that, you know, a lot of coups and governments have been overthrown. I think before this movie came out, we were lucky enough to interview a young woman last week that was from Afghanistan and was in school like any other young woman her age, and the Taliban takes over and now she's not in school and she can't leave the house except for a few times a year. That happened to somebody we talked to last week. So this is more common. And if you listen to history and history podcasts like I do, because I'm a huge nerd, this is more common than it is not. The idea of having a structure of government that just lasts the test of time is a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. And right now in our country, Erica, we have a lot of people, no matter how we feel about it, that feel like the government, the election was not just, that their voices are not being heard, and they're willing to take up arms to do it, and we saw it on television. So this isn't that far from having happened. So I think the idea of having a movie about it is not that out of place to me.
I think it adds to a context of what it would actually be like or could potentially be like should something like this happen. And where that's coming from is with COVID. Like, when we first knew that COVID was a thing, no one knew what that thing was, but people kind of contextualized it through art, you know, through movies that they had seen. Is this going to be like this? Or it's totally possible because we saw it in this. You know, there's a grain of truth in every story. So I don't know if it's going to inspire people to try to start a civil war that weren't inspired by that thinking to begin with, but I do think it adds a little bit of layered context for some people, just in general.
I'm curious to see what the tipping point is that they get to this spot, right? Because we're very at each other in America, but I think it's more online. I don't think it's in everyday life. I think online is sparking thoughts of this, and people think this could actually happen. I don't think this could actually happen. I know history does kind of repeat itself, but I think we have more of a handle on things than this movie would assume that we do. And shout out to Jesse Plemons, by the way. If you've seen a clip from him on this, look it up. We have a little shot right here.
He's right there.
I love this guy. Is like becoming my favorite actor very quickly. I love him. But I'm curious to see it. I think a lot. It's what's on people's minds.
It is. It reflects this culture.
Definitely, and like I said, especially online. But I don't think we're there by any means as a civilization, just going out in public. But we're getting further and further. Shorter work weeks. Everything's pushing you inside. Nobody wants to go outside anymore.
Right.
You know, like it could happen. I guess.
By the way, it's happening in Haiti right now as we sit at this desk.
That's right. Absolutely. Coups are coming in Haiti right now with the government collapsing. But I also want to say it's from the vision and lens of Kirsten Dunst, who is a reporter in this, a journalist, and it speaks to the importance of free press as well, which is an issue we're also going through right now.
Plus, I'm in it.
How was working with Jesse?
He's cool.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Al is not in this movie.
Oh.
Switching gears here.
Cool.
All right, a lot of people are talking about this. This is a crazy and interesting story we want to get to. 21-year-old singer Olivia Rodrigo promoting safe sex and reproductive care at her concerts. So at her stop in St. Louis, in Missouri, the Missouri Abortion Fund provided boxes of morning after pills and condoms to fans at the show. Now, the majority of Olivia's fans are tweens and teens. How do we feel about contraceptives being handed out to kids that age?
I do not find this story to be crazy. I find this to be the way that things are going to need to go. I know that people, parents have, obviously I'm not a parent. I'm not going to tell people how to parent their children, but I was a child at one point. And I'll tell you, as a kid or as a person who didn't have sex until I was an adult, that the concern was always about me, teen pregnancy. Anytime there would be contraceptives or something that was, given to us or provided or open, I would never take them and have them for myself. If I was given the opportunity to get them, I would give them to my friends who I knew actually needed them.
Right.
So it's kind of like we talk about teenagers as if they're not bright people, and I understand they have a lot to learn and experience, but these weren't just handed out to people. You had to walk up to actually get them, and I would imagine that if most of these kids are getting them, they're getting them because they actually need them or they know someone who does.
I appreciate that. Just, abortion is completely banned in the state, but anyone can get these over the counter in most drugstores without a prescription. There's no age needed to get a condom or a prescription for the morning after pill. Just wanted to say that.
I kind of want to talk to Jeff about this because you got boys coming up that you're going to snap your fingers and they're going to be at concerts. Erica said something that made me think. She said, I'm not a parent, and I think that there are a lot of people that have children at that concert that are like, well, I am a parent, and I don't want you telling me how to parent my children. I sent my child to a concert, not a place to be educated in any way. Formally, informally about sex. So how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I could argue either side, to be honest with you. But if you have children, say 9, 10 years old, my kids are 7 and 5, they're right there about to go to a concert. Is this the place I want to start introducing this, right? You're kind of bringing your politics into my concert, my kids' fun.
Or is it health, right? Or you're bringing just
but
health.
it is kind of political, especially with the whole abortion thing. That's exactly, she's firing back against that. And I'm very much for a woman's right to choose, right? So I could go either way with that. I could see like, hey man, my 8-year-old doesn't need to be seeing that. But then again, if you're 13 or 14 or whatever age you start having sex, even that's young. Now I have no idea right now. And you're uncomfortable, maybe you got to start somewhere. So I could see both sides to this.
I think it's interesting too, the idea of sending your child to a concert unsupervised. I'm not saying that that's right, wrong, or indifferent, but like, I wasn't allowed to go to concerts unsupervised. I wasn't even allowed to go to a concert until I was like 16 or 17 years old.
What was your first concert?
DC Talk, Jesus Freak.
What is that? That sounds like you just read an acronym.
Christian rock?
It was a Christian rock band.
Oh, wow. I'm shocked they let you go. Yeah, I took my daughter to the Scissor concert for her 16th birthday. And, so I drove her and her friends up to the State Farm Arena in Atlanta. And, I'm getting up to walk in line with them, and they just started looking at me like, what are you doing? And I was like, I really thought I was gonna walk in line and hang, and they were like, you need to pick us up in about 4.5 hours. I was like, oh, it was the first time as a dad I sadly walked back to the car like, oh, she's a
let me ask
person.
Let me ask you a serious question. What if the 4 girls or whatever went there and they came back with a bunch of condoms and contraceptives and things like that, and they got in the car and you saw all that? Would you have questions for them, or would that be a good thing?
I would have questions. I wouldn't freak out in front of them, but you know me, I'm always in my head. I wouldn't be 100% like, I'd be like,
what if they said we went to a
what are they
booth?
talking about in there? That would be what was the message? Because I wasn't in there.
Right.
So as a parent, and my kid came back with a handful of condoms, I would ask some questions.
Would it make you feel better, again, not a parent, that they had to, again, I just want to reemphasize, these weren't handed out. You had to go somewhere to ask for that to be given to you. Does that make you feel any better?
Well, I mean, if your friends go, let's go up to the booth, but you're going to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean,
fair.
I don't think they're forcing the kids, but I would have some questions. I wouldn't freak out or call the venue, but I'd have some questions.
Fair. All
Free
right.
stuff is free stuff.
That's right.
Grab a handful.
You love your Costco free stuff.